So it was about 3 years ago during my first year of engineering school that I was stuck in the library because I decided to procrastinate on a statics assignment that I had, which was due at midnight of this same day. However, I just said I would quote unquote lock in for these next couple of hours. So I started the assignment. However, my girlfriend calls me and she's like, "Yo, Aaron, do you want to come eat Chinese food with me and my friends?" And then I respond to her. I say, "I don't know if I'm gonna have enough time. I got this statics assignment due. It's really important." However, she tells me that you're really gonna enjoy this food, Aaron. I really want you to try the food that me and my friends enjoy. So I'm like hesitating. She's saying, "Please, please, please." We're going back and forth. However, I eventually give in because of my weak-mindedness at the time, and I go out to eat Chinese food with them. So we go on the bus to the Chinese restaurant, and we're talking, enjoying our conversations. And then we get to the Chinese restaurant, and I fucking enjoyed that meal. It was nice Peking duck. It was nice noodles. It was a really great meal in general. I still remember it to this day. However, after the meal's done, they're all like, "Yo, let's go to Walmart, get some groceries while we're here," because Walmart is like 5 minutes away of a walk from this Chinese restaurant. So I'm like hesitant also. I don't know if I should. And then my girlfriend and her friends, they say that it'll just be a short trip to the grocery store. So since I'm already kind of in a good mood, I go on with them. Still a bit stressed about that statics assignment that is due in just a couple of hours now. So we get the fucking toilet paper, random bullshit that they need to get. I don't even get anything. However, I'm pushing the cart around. And then after we check out all of the items, they decide, "Yo, let's go to HomeSense, that's next door." And I'm like, I really think I should go home now and finish that statics assignment. However, they're like, "Whatever, it'll be quick." They don't even buy anything at fucking HomeSense. And now we gotta go onto the bus. However, we actually fucking missed the bus. So we gotta call a taxi in order to make it home quicker, because the buses took like half an hour or something to arrive. So we wait for the taxi for like 10, 15 minutes maybe. And then I finally get home, or to the university campus. And I got like 2 hours. 2 fucking hours to finish this statics assignment. I don't finish it, obviously, because I'm a first-year engineering student who's not really well equipped with engineering knowledge or solving engineering problems. And I had procrastinated for the past week. There's a reason that they release assignments a week before it's due, so that you could gradually work on it, not fucking cram it, right? So I work on this statics assignment. However, I don't fucking finish it, not even close. I get like halfway done, and I hand it in. It's midnight. I fucking missed my 8 a.m. lecture. And that was all my fault. I make it look like it was my girlfriend and her friend's fault for pressuring me to go, but that was my fault, obviously, because I had 3 opportunities to say no. I had the opportunity to say no to the meal. I had the opportunity to say no to Walmart. I had the opportunities to say no to HomeSense. I could have gone home early to finish that statics assignment if I just said, "Oh, I'll just take the bus alone." But no, I was fucking weak-minded. I didn't know how to say no. So that's the main lesson that I want to tell you. The first lesson is learn to say no. Don't be weak-minded like me, who prioritizes trying to be cool to friends and my girlfriend in order to just get on their good side and not make any arguments. What's more important, your career or this night out? Getting groceries, going to fucking HomeSense. What's more important? Obviously, your career in engineering. Engineering is serious business. There's a reason that it's so hard. So in order to get through this incredibly hard degree, you have to make sacrifices. You have to learn to say no. All right? That's the lesson that I want you to learn. Learn to say no. By the way, I just realized that I have not introduced myself yet. My name's Aaron. I'm about to enter my 4th year of engineering school in mechanical engineering. And I have about a year of internship industrial experience. And I make videos on my free time, inspiring and giving my advice that I wish I knew in my early years of engineering school. All right, if that sounds good to you, I also have a program linked down in the description where I give even more advice, more in-depth advice. And there's also a community of like-minded engineering students to us that are genuinely locked in and serious about engineering. Okay, so go check it out. Back into the video, I want to introduce to you a term called pretengineers. I came up with this term, which means that pretengineers are a student that studies engineering who's not serious about the degree. They're not passionate. They do the bare fucking minimum and they cheat through it pretty much. Now, it's very important that you do not surround yourself with pretengineers. Now, I'm going to tell you why, because also in my first year of engineering school, I made a bunch of pretengineer friends. As a matter of fact, the first friend that I made in engineering school was a pretengineer. I thought that he was a chill guy. I thought that he was really funny. I hung out with him a lot. However, the more that I hung out with him, the more I realized that he took a lot of shortcuts. He used a lot of Chegg. He Googled all the answers. And he wasn't using all of this stuff as a tool, by the way. He was using it to cheat. He wasn't learning shit. And he openly admitted that he was just cheating throughout all of these assignments. I let it slide because I didn't think that it would affect me. Whatever, he's doing his own thing. I'm doing my own thing. However, one day during lunchtime when I'm with him and our other friends in the dining hall, we try to make plans to hang out that evening. And me learning my lesson from the first story that I told you, I'm like, it's all right, I got assignments that are due later. I say no to them, and I make it strict this time. No, I'm not able to hang out with you guys tonight. I'm sorry. And then my friend here, whose name is, by the way, Sean, he tells me, Aaron, just cheat and copy my assignments right here, and then you could come hang out with us. However, I say no again, strictly. He tries to pressure me. And then he says, Aaron, you're too honest. You're too honest, Aaron. Do you really think that Bill Gates got to where he's at because he acted ethically? Now, whether or not this is true, whether or not Bill Gates acted unethically to get his success, Bill Gates didn't study fucking engineering, did he? However, so this guy is using a completely irrelevant analogy for me to hang out with him later that night. So I don't really say anything to that. I just ignore him, finish my meal. And then a few months later, Sean introduces me to some other people, the first of which was named Andy. Andy also ended up being a pretengineer, just like Sean here, because Andy introduced to us what was ChatGPT. ChatGPT was on the rise at the time. This was during like 2023. Andy introduced me and Sean to it. And I already know what Sean's thinking. He's not going to use that as a tool, a useful tool for engineering. He's going to fucking cheat his way through it. He's going to use and abuse ChatGPT to get the answers for him instead of him solving the homework himself. And he does. He fucking does. He cheats even more with the use of AI, ChatGPT. And I'm just disappointed because I now have two pretengineer friends that are tempting me to cheat and act unethically in engineering school. However, still, I have this mindset of like, whatever, they're doing their own thing. I'm doing my own thing, which is wrong, by the way. I'm about to tell you later. Sean here then introduces me to another pretengineer friend who I didn't know would be a pretengineer at the time. I actually thought that he was a true engineering student because he was the first year representative of the engineering society at my university. He seemed like such a cool guy. When I first met him, he was like on the phone. He seemed like he was doing some important shit. And he gave like a presentation at the front of the class in representative of the engineering society at my university. I thought that this guy was a true engineering student, someone that was really passionate, someone that was going to act ethically, because one of the pillars of the engineering society is integrity. I hang out more with this first year representative guy, which we'll name him Harry, by the way. And Harry also ends out to be a pretengineer. I hang out with him, I realize that he's also using ChatGPT to cheat. He's not using it as a tool, he's using it to cheat. And I'm fucking disappointed. I'm surrounded by so many fucking pretengineers at this point. I go to a lecture, or actually just a class. It's called a tutorial at my university for dynamics. And Harry here decides to play games during this class. He's playing, I can't even fucking remember, but he's playing some random game online. And I was just getting distracted because his laptop was in my line of sight of the teaching assistant that was presenting to us these dynamics problems. So I'm like trying to focus. And then finally, Harry here closes the tab of the game. And then he pulls up another tab where he can watch regular show. Fucking regular show. And yeah, regular show is a great fucking show. Super funny. But that was a show that I watched when I was fucking like 13 years old. And this guy's a grown-ass adult in engineering school trying to work towards his career. However, he decides to watch this children's show instead of this dynamics lecture or dynamics class, which is actually going to help him develop his career and develop his engineering skills. Harry was also a pretensioneer. You'd never know who's a pretensioneer nowadays in engineering school. You look all around you, there's so many people. And even those that you look up to, even those that you think are of important status, they're pretensioneers. They can be pretensioneers. Even professors can be pretensioneers. You know, all those professors that aren't passionate about teaching. They don't give a shit. There's like these professors that don't give a shit about if you cheat on your exams. They like turn a blind eye because they don't want to cause any trouble for you. And some of them know for a fact that there are pretensioneers out there cheating on their assignments. However, they don't give a shit. They're not strict about the importance of integrity. And it's a shame to see what engineering school has become nowadays, where it's full of pretensioneers. That's why I have to make these videos on my channel about bringing awareness and giving a slap to the face of engineering students of the modern day. Now, that was a bit of a sidetrack, but the lesson that I want you to take away from my story is to not befriend pretensioneers. Do not befriend pretensioneers. Don't have the mindset that I had of like, oh, these pretensioneer friends, it's okay to be friends with them. They're doing their own stuff. I'm just going to act ethically on my own. However, if you haven't heard the saying yet, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend most time with. Are those 5 people that you spend most time with tempting you to cheat? Are they distracting you during lectures? If so, cut them off. It's not worth it, okay? I'd rather have you be lonely, but locked the fuck in, rather than have pretensioneer friends and not locked in. All right, engineering school is serious. We're going to be doing serious work with our degrees. We're going to be building, we're going to be presenting solutions to climate change, to oncoming fucking asteroids that are threatening to hit this earth. We're going to provide solutions to agriculture. We're going to provide solutions to sustainable energy. All of these industries out there under engineering. So therefore, it is important that you make the most of your time in engineering school. Lock the fuck in, okay? I'm not going to say this anymore. But the lessons that I want you to take away from this video is to 1, learn to say no. And 2, do not befriend pretensioneers. All right, that's all I want you to take away from this video. Join the program if you want further advice from me on how to make personal projects, how to build your engineering portfolio, and also build a strong community of engineering students that are like-minded to us, that are genuinely locked in on engineering and serious about this degree. I really think that you'd be a great fit. All right, so that's all I got to say today. I'll see you next time.